Hi everyone, welcome back to Sports Kati. I'm Rohit, and with me we have Vaishak and Karan. So it's been some time since we had a video. We talked about Euros last. India Sri Lanka series was there, but we felt that that series was really not played by the main Indian team, and also did not have much consequence going forward. But anyways, this is the real test. India going to England. The last time India has won a series in England was way back in 2007. So it's been 14 years since India has won a series in England. India has just won two matches in this time. In 14 matches since 2007, India has won two matches. So that just shows that, India has not been in the best of forms in England. I'm more confident, I would say, but not because India is getting better. But I feel that this England team has not been the best of form. They have been struggling. They recently lost against New Zealand a series. They drew against Australia the last Ashes, and so they are not in the best of form at home. So this is a good opportunity for India, and to make things better, or at least from Indian perspective, is that Ben Stokes is not there. That's going to be a big miss for England. It is. I wouldn't want to say it as make things better, because why he is off from the cricket is a really sad news. And it is really sad that we as fans will not be able to watch one of the best players in the world play cricket. So yes, not a good news to hear, but from Indian perspective, that increases our chance of winning the series. So in that note, let's look into what our topics today are. So firstly, before we go into the playing 11, I want to pick out a couple of players. So what I've looked into is Cheteshwar Pujara. Or when we talk about Indian team, there are a lot of talks about how is Pujara. Pujara has been in poor form in the World Test Championship. He averaged only in the 20s. So he has been in poor form. He should be dropped. But then there's another group of set of people who talk about that. He is one of the reasons why India won in Australia. He was there when India defied Australia in Sydney, and played a pivotal role in the Brisbane win. Gaba win. So so that actually shows that he is important too. But then let me just look at it statistically, where he is and how he has been doing. So this is his career path, and this is what his career has been. So I am dividing his career into four phases. So we have the first phase here, what you can see, and what I have called as the honeymoon phase. Okay, in the first phase, he started off really well. In his first, he scored his first 1,500 runs. In his first 28 innings, he scored 1,500 runs at an average of 66 and scored 6 centuries. And that's what I call as someone coming into a new test scene. A lot of players we see that where they perform really well, because ballers really do not know how you play, and you can have your own style from domestic season, and you can come and replicate it successfully. A lot of them do that, and Pujara also did that and started off really well in his career. But then came the what I call as a struggle phase, or the phase when the ballers started figuring out what his weaknesses are. The next 15 matches or 27 innings, he scored only 830 runs at an average of 30, and only one century in the 15 matches. And that 15 matches also cover 5 matches when in England. Now, a lot of players during this phase, can fade off. You can see players, who come in very well, start off, and then when they are figured out, then they don't grow up. We see that with a lot of spinners, especially. Uh, but then give credit to Pujara. He fought off. He improved his game. He modified. He came out of the struggle phase, and then came a phase where you can say it was a period of Pujara. From 2016 to 2019, Pujara was possibly one of the best test players in the world itself. He was definitely one of the best players for India. He and Kohli were number one and two. You can put them here or there, because these are his numbers during that phase where I call him as his domination phase. In his 36 matches during that phase, he scored 3,000 runs at an average of 54 and scored 11 centuries. This includes series in South Africa, Australia, England. So he went through this super purple patch, or I would say that is when he was at his very best. But then, since that 193 in Sydney in early January 2019, he again has declined, and then it has been a bit of a drastic decline. So when you look at the numbers in 18 matches since that Sydney test, he has scored only 841 runs at an average of 28, and not a single century. And that is why people are now talking about whether Pujara is in a situation where, whether are we seeing the end of Pujara? is it time to replace him? Because always people talked about his low strike rate, but then people always say that even if it's a low strike rate, he always manages to score big runs. But now that runs are not there, runs are dried up. So when you do look at his career again, what has happened is not a single century in this period. And really the standout innings, what you can actually talk about is only a couple of 50s, which he scored in Australia. So the big runs have completely dried off. So now is the time for Pujara to actually show that, okay, does he have that one late bloom? Because, if you look at his career now, scoring so many runs, I wouldn't expect Pujara to be considered as someone as a great. Okay, he has scored 6,000 runs, an average of 46. He is someone who is a very good player, but he's not a great. Now, to prove greatness, you need to have that second bloom or the late bloom. Because whenever we talk about Pujara, we talk about Rahul Dravid in parallel, because his batting style is somewhat similar to Rahul Dravid. So I was also looking at Rahul Dravid's career, and Rahul Dravid's career goes to a very similar phase, but Rahul Dravid's phase of this decline came much later. That is, around when the age of 33 in 2006, when he led India to West Indies. After that, he went through a small lull. Basically at that time, when in 2006 he had an average of 58, Rahul Dravid, and then he went through a period of 48 innings where he scored only 1,300 runs at an average of 30. So there was a 2.5-year period of Rahul Dravid's career where he scored only a 30 average. But he was not dropped, or even really not thought about being dropped, was because that he had already acquired that status of being legend, and there are also no immediate replacement for Dravid. And then what Dravid did after that was that he had an amazing second bloom, where he went on to score under 13 centuries in the next 55 innings, which includes the end of his career, which is very poor session in Australia. Last 8 innings in Australia was not good. But even including that, he had a good 55 innings where he scored 13 centuries, an average of 53. So he had a very good late career. Now that is what we are looking, whether Pujara has that late bloom in him or not. But then he's running out of time, because unlike Dravid, he has not achieved a legend level. And also he has competition. KL Rahul has been performing really well. Vihari has been on the bench for some time. So there is competition for Pujara. So that is what we'll see. And I think for me, Pujara should start the first couple of tests, and we'll see how he plays, how he takes his opportunity. If he continues to fail, then I think maybe this might be it for Pujara. So that's it from my side about Pujara. Off to you, Vaishak, to talk about Bumrah.
That was a good overview from Rohit about Pujara. Let me start with Bumrah. I think Bumrah is also, the career path is pretty similar to Pujara in the way he has gone through his honeymoon phase and now going through struggle. As you know, if you have seen Bumrah, he came into international cricket with a very unconventional bowling action. And, no one expected him to be prolific in test. He was picked, he was scouted by Sachin Tendulkar for IPL. And he was labeled to be someone who is, a key member for the limited overs format. Now, with this impression, it was like a dream come true when he came into the test bowling and he became the best test bowler in terms of ranking for India. Let me just pull out his figures. So in 2018, he averaged 23. In 2019, that average went down to 13.14, thanks to, two good, a spell against West Indies. Into 2020, that average went up above as, 27. And now in 2021, the average is 50.71. That's really, really disappointing. But yes, there have been only 4 matches this year, so the sample size is very small. Regardless, it is evident that Bumrah, has gone past his honeymoon period. The batsmen are coming prepared for him. So the worry now for Bumrah is, how will Bumrah accept this challenge? Recent observation for me is that he has been bowling a lot of variations, trying to pick a wicket, something which is good in limited overs format. But in a test match, discipline, sticking to the plan, that is more important. He averaged 25 during our last tour to England. Now, my hope is that if Bumrah can put a bit more trust and confidence in his strengths, he will come back stronger. He will become that best fast bowler for India again. And let's see what happens, how this series goes. So who should be, starting in the lineup? Will Pujara and Bumrah, I think they should surely be starting, isn't it, Karan?
Thanks, Vaishak, for that good good discussion regarding what's happening with Bumrah and how his career has been progressing. Regarding playing 11s, I will start with India. But before I get to that, considering what happened in the World Test Championship, at least everyone who follows the Indian Test team, they felt like, okay, we could have won that, we could have played a little better. But I felt New Zealand outplayed that, and I hope we get to learn a lot from it. I am of the opinion that India should have had a lot more match practice coming into this series, but because of COVID restrictions and whatever reasons, that wasn't possible. So keeping that in mind, I would start my playing 11 for India. But before I talk about the playing 11, India is going to miss out on two main players, which would be Washington Sundar and Shubman Gill. Shubman Gill was definitely going to open the batting for India, but for some reasons he's been injured. And Washington Sundar also picked up a niggle. And they have been replaced by Prithvi Shaw and Surya Kumar Yadav, who had a brilliant series against Sri Lanka. So from that aspect, I think the opening for the first test would be done by KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma. We just got the news that Agarwal is injured, so he'll not be playing the first test. So KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma should open. I think this being the last test series in England for Pujara, I think these five matches Pujara should get that nod and he should play and start building his innings and probably make this a memorable one for us. At number four, we have Virat Kohli. There's no change there. He had a good he did have a good series in England, but the one before that was really bad for him. So I really hope this turns out to be really good. At number five, I think if Rahane is fit, India will start with Rahane, considering he's the vice captain and they have their trust on him. But I'm not too sure at this point of time how his injury, how is he coming back from his injury? And considering Agarwal is not playing the first match and KL Rahul is opening, if Rahane is not fit for the first match, I think Hanuma Vihari will replace him at number five. At six, I've gone with Rishabh Pant. There is no question with that. Rishabh Pant is the next big thing in India, so Rishabh Pant at six. Similar to the World Test Championship, I'm of the opinion that India should go with their strongest 11. So from that aspect, I've gotten with Jadeja at 7, Ashwin at 8, Bumrah at 9, Shami at 10, and Ishant Sharma at 11. The same team as the World Test Championship with respect to bowling. I think they will start off with this and then we'll see how it goes. Because we have Mohammad Siraj, Shardul Thakur, and Umesh Yadav as backup for fast bowlers. But with the Jadeja, Ashwin, Bumrah, Shami, and Nishant, I think India is a lot more confident as a team. If Siraj has done well in those tests or probably in the test match practices, maybe he can replace either Shami or Ishant. But the fast bowling would start off with Bumrah, Shami, and Ishant is what I think. Coming to the England 11, the England has been the two players England is definitely going to miss out are on Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer. Ben Stokes Ben Stokes backed out of the series due to mental illness, and Jofra Archer hasn't come back from his injury. So keeping that in mind, the playing 11 which I think England will go for the first test would be Zach Crawley and Dom Sibley will open their batting. Even though they have Hasib Hamid and Rory Burns as the backup openers, they would start with Zach Crawley and Dom Sibley. And if something goes wrong down the series, they have extra openers there. I think they will go with Johnny Bairstow at 3 and Joe Root at 4. Ideally, I felt that Oli Pope should be coming at 5, but I think even he's coming back from an injury. So till the point where Oli Pope isn't completely fit, I think Dan Lawrence will be coming in at number 5. They have Josh Butler at 6, Sam Curran at 7 as their bowling all-rounder. At number 8, they will play one between Dom Bess or Jack Leach as the spinner. That's what I feel that they might play with one spinner. They're definitely going to go with Stuart Broad and Jamie Anderson. The number 11 player for England, I think, is a tricky one because they have three options there. They can go for Craig Overton, who's replaced Ben Stokes after his let off from the series, or they can replace him with Mark Wood or Ollie Robinson. So that third pacer for England is where they'll have to decide. I think for the first test, they might start with Craig Overton because he can bat a bit and that will give them a bit of a batting depth. But other than that, I think that's the playing 11 they'll go with. The other thing I want to discuss about is the five venues we'll be playing at. The venues are Nottingham, Lords, Leeds, Oval, and Manchester. And I feel that considering this is the English summer, there might not be too much of rain. If the sun comes out and if India is bowling at that point of time, and if India can make the most out of the pitches, I think Jadeja and Ashwin can trouble the English batsmen. So I feel that the England 11 or the England batting is not that strong. So whichever team bowls better throughout the series, they have a chance of winning it. even though England, from a bowling aspect, looks slightly more better considering its home conditions, if our pacers can pick up the mark and start picking up early wickets, I think India has a very good chance of winning the series. And I'm expecting a result in all 5 matches. Maybe a draw, but other than that, I think there will be results all around there. But I think it's the bowling that will win the series this time, because batting for both the teams, I feel, is a bit thin. So that's what I think the playing 11 would be. Do drop in your comments with respect to what you feel the playing 11 could be. Over to Vaishak for the conclusion.
Yeah, that was good overview from Karan. Who's the best batsman India has? It is Virat Kohli. Who's the best bowler England has? It is Anderson. And we started calling Kohli as Anderson's bunny because Anderson dismissed him 4 times in the 2014 series. But the point to be noted is that Anderson has not dismissed Kohli since. And in 2018, Anderson couldn't dismiss him a single time. And Kohli scored, I think 594 is the right number. I think Rohit said 594 runs in the whole series. So let's see what happens this time. And more importantly, the people who are at the age of 30, more than about 30, this could be their last series in England. I mean, they can have option to go and play the county once they are done. That's a different question. But as an Indian test player, this could be the last, because with the World Test Championship, there is no test matches coming against England for long. So let's conclude here. Please tell us your opinion about what's going to happen in this series. Who are the players you're looking forward to watch? That's all from us. Until next time, stay safe. Goodbye.